Hello everyone and welcome back to EverlastCyber. In today's video, we'll be going through some practice questions and answers for the Salesforce Administrator certification exam. Salesforce is a cloud-based customer relationship management platform that helps businesses to manage and optimize their interaction with their customers, their clients, and prospects. It provides tools and services for sales, customer service, marketing, cybersecurity, and other business functions. It is widely used now to streamline processes, enhance customer satisfaction, as well as driving business growth. The good thing with Salesforce is that it is highly customizable and it can be tailored to meet the specific needs of different industries and businesses. It is also known for its robust ecosystem, which includes a vast network of consultants, developers, and partners. So without wasting time, let's dive right into the questions. Question 1. What can be modified in standard object fields? For this question, we'll be selecting two answers. A. Label. B. Default text. C. Field type. D. Help text. For option A, you can modify the label of a standard objects field to customize the way it appears in the user interface. Default text, for this option, it can sometimes be set for custom fields, but it is not applicable to all standard fields. Field type of a standard objects field cannot be changed. This type is predefined by Salesforce and it is not modifiable for standard fields. Option D, for help text, you can add or modify the help text for a standard objects field, providing users with additional information or guidance when they hover over that field. So for this question, we'll be going with options A and option D, label and help text. For label, you can modify the label of a standard objects field to customize the way it appears in the user interface. And you can also modify the help text for a standard object field, providing users with additional information when they hover over the field. Question 2. As an end user, what are two things you can do in content? For this question, we'll also be selecting two answers. A. Read. B. Edit. C. Subscribe. D. Post. As an end user, you can access and read the content that has been shared with you, or if you have the permission to view it. For the edit option, these are permissions that are granted to users with specific roles or permissions. For option C, subscribe, end users can subscribe to content to receive updates or notifications when the content is changed or when a new content is available. For option D, this type of permission is also granted to users with specific roles or permissions like content creators or managers rather than general end users. So with respect to the question, we'll be going with options A and C, read and subscribe. These are the two things that you can do in content as an end user. Question 3. Which objects can be used to organize and track your marketing efforts? A. Campaigns. B. Tasks. C. Events. D. Marketing. Campaigns are commonly used in marketing to organize, plan, and track marketing efforts. Tasks are specific actions or activities that are assigned to individuals or teams to complete within a certain time frame. Events refer to planned occurrences like trade shows, product launches, or webinars. And while events can be part of a marketing strategy, they only represent one aspect of a marketing effort. Marketing is the overall process of promoting, selling, and distributing a product or service. It encompasses a wide range of activities and strategies, including public relations, advertising, marketing research, and sales. So with respect to this question, the objects that can be used to organize and track marketing efforts is option A, campaigns. Campaigns are used to organize, plan, and track marketing efforts, including promotional activities, advertisements, and various outreach initiatives. Question 4. Which type of charts can display the summary values from two different levels of grouping in a report? A. Donut chart. B. Stacked bar chart. C. Funnel chart. D. Grouped line chart. A donut chart is used to display a single summary value or a single level of grouping, but not two different levels of grouping, so that's out of it. A stacked bar chart allows you to display summary values from two different levels of grouping by stacking the bars, and each segment of the bar will represent a subgroup within the primary group. A funnel chart is used to represent stages in a process like a sales funnel, but it is not designed to display the summary values from two different levels of grouping. While a grouped line chart can display summary values from two different levels of grouping by showing multiple lines, and each of the line will represent a subgroup within the primary group. So with respect to this question, we'll be going with options B and D. Stacked bar charts and grouped line charts will allow to display the summary values from two different levels of grouping in a report. Question 5. Which of these features can be used to make a field required? A. Record type. B. Field level security. C. Page layout. D. Validation rule. Record type allows you to specify different business processes, pick list values, and page layouts for different users. However, they do not directly make the fields required. Field level security controls whether a field is visible or editable for certain profiles. However, it does not enforce a field as required. For option C, page layout, you can make a field required on a certain page layout by marking it as required. This means that users must fill in the field when creating or editing a record that uses that layout. You can use a validation rule to enforce that a field is required by creating a rule that checks if the field is blank, and if so, it will prevent the record from being saved until that field is populated. So with respect to this question where we have to choose two options, we'll be going with options C and D. Page layout and validation rule. Question 6. When touring Flow Builder's user interface, which item displays on flows? For this, we'll be selecting three answers. A. Button bar. B. Canvas. C. Toolbox. D. Components. E. Highlight panels. The button bar is the area in Flow Builder where you can find options to manage your flow, such as saving, activating, or debugging it. Canvas is the main working area in Flow Builder where you can drag and drop elements to create your flow. Toolbox contains all the elements like data, logic, and actions, and you can use this to build your flow. Components is not specifically an item in the Flow Builder interface, and Highlights panel is more related to record pages rather than flows. So for this, we're going with options A, B, and C. I put up a picture here where we can see. So option A, Toolbox, we can see it's highlighted as the number 1 on the picture. The number 2 is the canvas, and the number 3 is the button bar where you can find different options to manage your flow, such as saving, activating, or debugging it. Question 7. Which of the following are not standard objects? A. Opportunities. B. Solutions. C. Job applicants. D. Accounts. E. Campaigns. Opportunities are used to track potential sales and revenue, so it is a standard object in Salesforce. Solutions are used to store solutions to common problems or frequently asked questions, although now it is deprecated in favor of knowledge. Job applicants, on the other hand, is not a standard object in Salesforce. It's just an example of a custom object that an organization might create to track information about candidates during the hiring process. Accounts is used to store information about companies or individuals, so this is a standard object in Salesforce. While campaigns are used to track marketing efforts and their impact on sales. So we can see that options A, B, D, and E are standard objects in Salesforce. However, option C, job applicants, is not a standard object in Salesforce. It's just a custom object that an organization will create in order to track information about candidates during the hiring process. Question 8. A developer wants to create a mashup to display a contact's location using Google Maps. Which of the following is a necessary step in developing this mashup? A. Deciding on the parameters needed for submission. B. Creating an S control to pass the URL to Google Maps. C. Creating a URL with merge fields to pass to Google Maps. D. Coding the HTML JavaScript in an S control to retrieve the results. For option A, deciding on the parameters needed for submission, this is a necessary step because you need to determine what information you'll be sending to Google Maps. For option B, creating an S control to pass the URL to Google Maps. S controls are deprecated now and they are no longer recommended for new developments. So creating an S control is not a necessary step for developing the mashup in a modern Salesforce environment. Instead, what developers use now is Visualforce or Lightning components. Option C, creating a URL with merge fields to pass to Google Maps is a necessary step because you need to construct a URL that includes the relevant data using the Salesforce merge fields. For option D, coding the HTML JavaScript in an S control to retrieve the results. While this is a necessary step, or this was a necessary step in the past, it is now outdated since S controls have been deprecated. Today, you would likely use Visualforce, Lightning components, or a more modern method to achieve this. So with respect to the question, the option that is not a necessary step in developing this mashup will be option B, creating an S control to pass the URL to Google Maps. S controls are deprecated now. What is in use now is Visualforce or Lightning components. Question 9. How do admins enable users to view tags? For this, we'll be selecting all the options that apply. A. Enable private tags. B. Enable public tags. C. Add tags to page layouts. D. All of the above. Going through the options. Option A. The admin must enable private tags if they want users to create and view their own private tags on record. Admins must also enable public tags if they want the users to create and view tags that are visible to others in the organization. For option C, to ensure that tags are visible on records, the admins will need to add the tags related list to the relevant page layouts. So for this, we'll be going with option D. It's all of the above. That is how admins enable users to view tags, by enabling private tags, public tags, and adding the tags to page layouts. Question 10. How many characters can a formula field contain? For this, we'll be selecting all options that apply. A. 200. B. 500. C. 1000. D. 3900. For this, we'll be going with options B and D. 500 and 3900. Formula fields in Salesforce can have up to 500 characters in the formula expression itself, and the resulting value of a formula field can be up to 3900 characters in length. So while the formula expression is limited to 500 characters, the actual content generated by the formula field can be much longer, up to 3900 characters. Question 11. How many days of setup audit history can you download? A. 7, B. 30, C. 90, D. 180, E. 365. For this, we'll be going with option E. You can download setup audit history for up to 365 days in Salesforce. This allows the administrators to review and analyze changes made to the setup configuration over the past year. Question 12. How many fields can you track per object using field history tracking? A. 5, B. 20, C. 50, D. Unlimited, E. None of the above. Option A, 5 is too low for the standard limit in Salesforce. For option B, 20 fields is the typical fields per object using field history tracking. The limit of 20 allows you to keep a historical record of changes for a specified number of fields on an object. Option C, 50 exceeds the standard limit of 20 fields per field for field history tracking. So the current Salesforce setup limit is not as high as 50. Option D, field history tracking does not support unlimited field. There's a fixed limit of 20 fields per object for tracking historical changes. So for this, we'll be going with option B. In Salesforce, you can track up to 20 fields per object using field history tracking, and this limit allows you to keep a historical record of changes for a specified number of fields on an object. Question 13. How many records can be deleted at once using the mass delete tool? A. 200, B. 500, C. 2000, D. 5000, E. Unlimited. For this, we'll be going with options C. The mass delete tool in Salesforce allows you to delete up to 2000 records at once, and this tool is useful for bulk operations in order to manage large volumes of data efficiently. Question 14. How many levels deep can cross-object formulas go? A. 2, B. 3, C. 4, D. 5, E. None of the above. For this, we'll be going with option B. In Salesforce, cross-object formulas can reference up to 3 levels deep, and this means that you can create formulas that access fields from related objects, and this allows you to pull data from objects that are linked through up to 3 relationships in Salesforce. That's why we're going with option B. Question 15. How many letters do you have to enter for the autocomplete to work? A. 1, B. 2, C. 3, D. 4. For this, we'll be going with option C. In Salesforce, you need to enter at least 3 letters for the autocomplete feature to activate and suggest matches. This helps to improve the accuracy of the suggestions, and it also reduces the number of irrelevant results. Question 16. How often can weekly data export requests be made? A. Every 4 days, B. Every 5 days, C. Every 6 days, D. Every 7 days. For this, we'll be going with option D. In Salesforce, you can schedule weekly data export requests to be made every 7 days. This allows for regular backups and exports of your data on a weekly basis. Question 17. If a new validation rule is created and there is data already stored that violates the rule, when will Salesforce catch the problem? A. Immediately, B. When the record is first viewed, C. When the record is edited, D. When the record is edited, then saved, E. The record is not affected because it was created before the creation of the validation rule. Let's go through the options. Option A, Validation rules are not enforced immediately for existing records that violate the rule. For option B, the validation rules are not enforced just by viewing a record. Option C, while the validation rule is triggered when a record is edited, it is a combination of editing and saving that enforces that rule. So simply editing a record does not trigger the validation rule unless the record has been saved. For option D, Salesforce will enforce the validation rule when the record is edited and then saved. So existing records that violate a new validation rule will not trigger the rule unless they are modified and saved again. This ensures that the rule applies to changes and updates and not just existing data that was valid before the rule was created. For option E, this is totally incorrect because validation rules will apply to records created before the rule if and when those records are edited and saved after the rule has been created. So for this, we'll be going with option D. The rules only applies to changes and updates and not existing data that was valid before the rule was created. So Salesforce will only enforce the validation rule when that record is edited and then saved. Question 18. Once activities are archived, where is the only place you can access them? A. You can't access them. B. Activity history, view AH. C. Recycle bin. D. Activity reports. E. Archiving of activities does not affect visibility. Option A is incorrect because archived activities are still accessible through the activity reports. For option B, archived activities do not appear in the standard activity history related lists. For option C, the recycle bin is for deleted records and not for archived activities. Option D is the likely answer because when activities in Salesforce are archived, they are removed from the standard view and related lists, but they can still be accessible through the activity reports. Option E is also incorrect because archiving does not affect visibility in standard views and related lists. So for this, we'll be going with option D. The activity reports is where you can access activities that have been archived because this will allow the users to generate reports that includes archived activities and they'll be able to review them as needed. Question 19. In a global Salesforce implementation, all sales team must use the same sales process. True or false? For this, we'll be going with option B, which is false. Salesforce allows for the creation of multiple sales processes that are tailored to the needs of different teams, regions, or business units. So in a Salesforce implementation, it is not mandatory for all the sales team to use the same sales process. This flexibility enables organizations to accommodate varying sales strategies, product lines, or customer segments within the same Salesforce instance. So each team can have its own customized sales process to better suit their specific requirements. Question 20. Salesforce can be used as a release and change management tool. True or false? For this, the answer is option A, true. Salesforce can be used as a release and change management tool, particularly with the use of features like change sets, sandboxes, Salesforce DX, and metadata API. These tools and features allows the administrators and developers to manage the development, testing, and deployment of changes within the Salesforce environment, and this makes it effective for release and change management. This brings us to the end of the video for the Salesforce administration practice questions and answers. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And if you like more of this kind of videos, please leave a comment in the comment section and we'll do well to create more videos to help you in your preparation for the Salesforce Admin Certification exam. Don't forget to also hit the subscribe button so that you'll be informed when our next informative video will be dropping. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.